from the money app Wise, finding that 1 in 3 Americans are uncomfortable discussing their finances in their relationships. I hate to be myself and be a little inappropriate here, but it blows my mind that when we say relationships, that's usually married people, right? You're comfortable not having clothes on, being naked with each other, but you don't want to talk about money. Like that is just too much. We can't talk about it.
You're not wrong. I mean, that's why it's such a taboo subject, right?
Both are.
You want to talk about money?
But yeah.
Oh gosh. I saw the smile out of the corner. I'm looking straight ahead and I saw the smile out of the corner of my eye and I knew something stupid was coming. But no, in all seriousness.
What do you mean stupid?
Something she's going to roll her eyes at.
You are so aggressive.
Yourself. Yeah, that too.
So
I was talking about a serious conversation about our finances.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what I'm saying. He'd rather talk about that than money. That's America right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right there.
You know,
is it okay?
Actually, yeah, it is. It's a taboo subject. I mean, it's one of those things that people know in the back of their mind that it's something that causes a lot of discord in relationships, whether you're married or not. A lot of people aren't married because they want to keep their finances separate. We've had those conversations with people sometimes. And, you know, honestly, when a couple comes in and meet with us and they're not comfortable with where each other stands on money, it's probably because somewhere along the line of them being married 40, 50, and sometimes even 60 years, they had an argument about money. And so that's kind of a sore spot.
Kristin.
They avoided it.
That article said the average couple has 58 money-related arguments per year.
It's not over, Kristin.
One a week.
That's nuts. I didn't read that.
Yes.
You were ready with the but yeah, I mean, that's insane. And I mean, I know why we don't fight about money is because what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. And we have that agreement. So we just work.
Yeah. No, actually.
Greg's like, wait a minute.
Actually, I'll go to the door and I will check. And there's an Amazon package on the front porch.
Guilty.
And
same.
I put it in and it's got Kristin's name on it. I said, "Oh, what is this? Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you about whatever."
Yeah. Amazon's a problem because you find the most unnecessary things. It's worse than Target. It's worse than Target.
It is way worse than Target.
When I'm laying in bed, tucking Jaden in for that hour, I'm sitting there consciously thinking, you know what? This punk is downstairs already snoring, and I got to sit up here for an hour. I'm about to order something on Amazon. Reorganize the drawers.
Oh, so that is the rationale, huh?
There you go.
Buy new containers for the pantry? Check. Other random things that I don't need?
Shoe sole protectors? Check.
Hey.
I needed those because I posted this on social media last week. So there was a clip of me. Kristin, you produced it, I think.
I saw this. And I was like, she's in her head about this clip with her shoes.
So I was flicking my foot. I'm doing it right now if you're watching the podcast video, but I'm flicking my foot and the bottom of my shoe looks tragic. I mean, it just looks so bad.
You're the only one that noticed that.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I had 3 people message me that they had shoe protectors for those shoes that they were sending me the links to before I even posted the re-clip of it.
And what makes it even worse is you didn't want to do that, and I made you do that clip.
Yes.
And then they have the shoes showing. So I'm really losing.
I was flicking my foot around for some reason. But anyway.
Well, back to men and women and money. I guess I wonder if it's okay for one spouse to manage the finances while the other spouse concentrates on different responsibilities. I mean, is that pretty normal?
Well, I would say in our house. Well,
yeah, I think we should say what we do. So in our house, I'm the one that concentrates on the finances for the most part.
Yes. I mean, Kristin does the bookkeeping. She makes sure that, as the bills come in, they get paid and all those kind of things. But
I do most of our investments personally.
Yes, you do.
On the personal side.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I would say that from that realm that she and I have an agreement, but it's not like I'm off doing other things and I don't want to know what's going on. And we constantly have
state of the union
discussions about, well, not just that, not just the state of things, but what our goals are, because, we love a lot of different things. We love our boys. We love the Lord. We love a lot of things. And first things first, we give our tithes every time we get paid. We give our tithe, and we want to not take from what the Lord has given us. We want to make sure we're faithful in that. And then on top of that, we want to make sure that every bill is paid really before time. I don't think the bill even comes most of the time before you have it paid online. And yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, we want to make sure we're faithful in doing the right thing. We want to make sure we're teaching our boys about money and how to handle money and what the responsibility of it is. But there's some things in this world that we're really passionate about. And one of it is doing for those who can't do for themselves. And through mission work, we love that. We talk about what we want to do. And it's funny, our church had a big missions week, a month or so ago. And at the end of the missions week, we have something at our church called Faith Promise, where you give by faith, and you're promising by faith what you're going to help, kind of forward the missions with. And so what Kristin and I do is she'll get a number in her head, and I'll get a number in my head, and we'll come together and we'll talk about it. And it's uncanny. It's almost always
exactly
the exact same number.
And sometimes, and it's not like we're always doing the same number. Sometimes it's like very different because there's some other project that we want to give to aside from this. And so, I might have something in my head, and then he comes back and says almost the exact same thing. Well, I really was thinking about this, so let's just do this on this part. And I think what's important about this conversation is that communication, I think, builds over time, right? So as you talk about these things, you get to know what's important to your partner about their money. And then so you respect and honor that through your decision making on the things that you do. And while we're not talking about retirement numbers and retirement money right now with us, because that's not where we're at in our season in life, when you're sitting down with your husband or you're sitting down with your wife and you're talking about what you want your money to do for you in those retirement years, you really need to consider the feelings about risk. You need to consider the feelings about how much money should be in savings to make someone feel comfortable. You need to be considering how important it is to your spouse to leave a legacy to their loved ones. Those three things are the big parts, because without fail, there's going to be you listening right now that one of you really wants to spend your last dollar on your last day, and the other one really wants to leave X amount of dollars to your grandchildren. And there might be someone out there that says, I just want to sit on the couch and just do nothing and just putz around my house and do house projects. And the other one, and eat Cheetos. And the other one wants to go travel the country or even the world. And so having those opposite ideas about what's important to you about your money makes it that much more important to start communicating it now before you reach the point of retirement. And it's really, really difficult to have those conversations when you're spending more time with your spouse at this point than you ever have in your entire life. And you're dealing with a lot of unknowns and pressures about what's to come in the future with your retirement, with all the things that you have to think about with your finances.
Really so
it could be, and it doesn't need to be, if you just start planning ahead. I tell this to the kids all the time. If you decide in advance how you're going to respond to something, it's so much easier to take in and deal with when your decision's made in advance. When you don't make the decision in advance, it's always going to be stressful, because you're in the moment and there's adrenaline and you're trying to figure it out. And there's all these outside pressures of the day trying to weigh in on your decision-making ability. And so now you just don't even know what to do. So you just stick your head in the sand. But if you decide in advance, you say, oh, I already planned for this. I already knew that, when we went to retire, we were going to do whatever it is. Then I think it's that much easier.
It is. Kristin, there's a verse in the Bible that could help a lot in this area, and that's in honor, preferring one another. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's easy for me to give in a little bit because you're important. Your opinion's important to me. I think that's really huge here, is that we don't lose sight that the other person's opinion matters. Mm-hmm. And I just did a review with a couple. In fact, he was a childhood friend, and he and his wife came on board and worked with us. And she is not comfortable unless there's at least $300,000 in the bank. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that they're not getting as much on it. It doesn't matter. He and I talked about some things, and he's like, yeah, I know I could get more interest if I did other things, Greg. He said, but she wouldn't be comfortable. And she being comfortable is really important to me. Mm-hmm.